Hello, Facebook. It's me, and you know what I'm about to say. Gary Weaving, the founder and CEO of Forgotten Veterans UK. I'm going to try not to do too long a live feed tonight because I can waffle, as you know. I've been on a road trip. I put a post up yesterday talking about what we're trying to do and why we're trying to do it. Who's there? Someone's watching. Show yourself so I know. So I've been on a road trip. I left this morning, driven up to Lancaster, and I'm actually at the Hunts. Nathan, WO2 Nathan Hunt. The man that... Derek, you're not meant to be my only watcher. That's no good. Sadly, the Hunts lost their son to suicide at the beginning of the year, and he was the high-profile case that was Prince Harry's friend. And I've got to know the Hunts quite well through our work at Forgotten Veterans, and we dedicated one of the Basher Bays to Nathan. They're lovely people. And what I wanted to do, what was important to me, is there's more people there. Show yourself so I know you're watching. What I wanted to do was, what happened last year was tragic. Very, very tragic. And it was tragic to many different families, not just the Hunts, not just the Dukes, not just, there was many of them, okay? And, losing a loved one is bad enough. When they've been in accidents, when they're ill, when there's outside circumstance, act of God. But actually losing a loved one to suicide must be really one of the hardest things there is. And I didn't realise myself what I was doing. I didn't realise how much harm and how much hurt and upset that my actions of trying to take my own life in the way I did would have such an impact on the people left behind. I do believe that it's a mental state, and because of that mental state, you can't focus on the good things. And one of the hardest things I ever had to do was explain to my teenage children why I didn't want to be their dad anymore. Because what do you say to that? My eldest daughter was furious. Absolutely furious with me. And how could I explain that I didn't want to be her dad? Hi Christopher, hi Alexandra, hi Graham. And since I've been doing this and I've met people like the Hunts, it's really opened my eyes to what gets left behind. And what gets left behind can ruin people's lives for the rest of their lives. And when people say suicide is selfish, from that angle, yes, you could see that. But I always counteract it with the truth of what I went through and how it affected me, so people realise that sometimes you just can't help but feel the way you feel. And it weren't even down to individuals or individual circumstances. It was a culmination of everything. And that's when it eats away at you and the old black dog gets a grip of you. Because you can't... When you're severely depressed, okay, people try and hide it. And the problem is with being severely depressed is you see the negative in everything. Absolutely everything. You know, I should live because of my kids. No, because I'm, you know, what went through in my mind was just darkness. It was like a tunnel. And all I could see were the bad comments, the bad things, the screw ups, the muck ups, the times I'd lost my temper, the times I'd said things I didn't think of, the times that I was a bad father, bad person, bad human, the anger of the PTSD, the confusion, the upset. And when you mix that with alcohol and drugs on top of many things, you know, that is the accelerator. It drives you even further into those thought processes. So I know this is getting a bit deep, and I didn't really mean to do this, but you know what I'm like. And I have actually got the Hunt sat with me now. Don't tell. There we go. That's all you're getting. Right. And I don't want to upset them, especially old Maria. Not old Maria, God, she'll kill me. Sorry, Maria. Especially Maria, because, you know, it's a lot. They're dealing with a lot. And sometimes it does upset them to speak about their son. And other times it makes them angry. And other times it makes them happy. Because it depends in what context. You know, and what I'm trying to explain is, I think I'm actually trying to explain it to these two, is how I felt. And I'm not Nathan, and I would never claim to be, and obviously I never would be. But if them understanding how I felt, but lived through it, gives them any consolation or condonance for what happened to them, then it's got to be worth saying. So I talk about my problems openly and honestly to the world, to people like the Hunts and people like Nathan and people, the next Nathans, the ones that could be Nathan, actually take something from it and realise that they are not alone. I'm through the worst of my suicidal tendencies. I do worry that one day I may go back to that. And they do say that quite often when people start doing it, eventually they will succeed. And that does bother me. And the last week or two, I've really been struggling. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. And, you know, and there's a lot of pressure on my shoulders because I feel like I'm letting people down if we don't succeed. I feel like I'm letting people down if we don't get that camp off the ground and start saving lives. And I do worry that if I crack and I can't cope, am I going to go back to that hopelessness again? But I can't, because I've sat here and listened to these two and I've seen the impact it's had on them. And I've heard about their family and Nathan's child and wife and really got underneath the fingertips of actually how this has impacted them. So, and why I've come up here, right? This is why I'm filming, right? They don't want Nathan's death to be in vain. And I don't think any of the families last year or this year do. And what I've been saying to Westminster is unless we harness this emotion, this story, this case study. I know it sounds cold to call it a case study, but that's what it is. It's a situation that went wrong. And it's a situation that could be learned from. And unless we give these families a voice and become ambassadors to stop in their own areas, to stop other people like Nathan doing what they do, then their son's life was in vain. They can't change what's happened. They can only try and build on the future and show his child and his family that something good has come out of this absolute tragedy. So I took them to the council today to see the lead councillor and a few other people and the military champion and various people. I think they were a bit complex to what we wanted. At first, they tried to palm us off with the shadow councillor, and I was like, no, not good enough. We want the big boy. We want the boss. Nathan's life and Nathan's parents are worth the boss. And I created a little bit of a stink over that, but they took it quite well, and they come back with the main man. My first objective was to introduce him to Derek, because I think he's a great bloke dealing with a hell of a lot that has got something to offer our community. He was a 22-year veteran himself. All right, it was RLC. That's not his fault, right? But we've forgotten that. RCT. Sorry, RCT. Same to me as an engineer. Sorry. I'm getting the finger. And you have to make that introduction to the lead councillor. This is Derek's dad. This is Derek's family. They want to do something. They want to help the future Nathans. Well, we also mentioned, so Derek's told some of his son's story. I let him speak briefly. And so they understood who Nathan was. They weren't aware who Derek was, but as soon as they said about being Prince Harry's friend, they knew the case. And, we got visitors. So we went to introduce him to Derek. We also went to speak to him about the coroner's report. We'd planned to do this for a long time. They have agreed that if it happens or not, they believe it's something that should happen. So that's good. And hopefully they're going to pursue that. No disrespect to Tobias Elwood. Hello, mate. No disrespect to Tobias Elwood, Minister Tobias Elwood, but it's not the first time a politician has promised something and it ain't happened. So we wanted to go in there to say to him, look, if it doesn't happen, it should happen. We also looked at the local amenities, what's going around, what's out there, and it sounds like they'd like to start a drop-in, one day a month, like Veterans Outreach Support. It's such a success, Veterans Outreach Support, so they're going to try and do something the same. So I might be looking for people in the Lincoln area that would be interested in setting a drop-in up, backed by the council. So that sounds promising, and they'll help get covenant funding for any extras that need to be brought and stuff. The Armed Forces Covenant are now doing a grant for such a thing. I'm not saying it's easy to get, but there are such a thing. So we'd like, so I'd like people from Lincoln City to get in contact with me that would be interested in setting up a drop-in on a monthly basis for one day a month. The Hunts are going to try and be involved as much or as little as they can. I think it's important. And let's get one open. Another thing I've asked them to do, I checked that they had an Armed Forces Covenant worker, and they have. So another thing I've suggested that they do is actually do a board of veterans there every 3 or 4 months. So all the veterans sit down from different classes, different social standings, different groups, different charities, and actually discuss what's going on in the county of Lincolnshire. So the left hand is talking to the right hand, So everyone knows that all the different services that are out there actually exist, or where they're not, and they need to be improved. We also spoke about the till service for this area as well. So some really key things were discussed. It took me 3 hours 45 minutes to get there, and I will go back if they do not keep to what they've agreed. I'm not having it, and they know it. Looked at me strangely on a few occasions, but who don't? But they did listen, and they did take note, and they appreciated the meeting, and were quite surprised to hear about a few things I had to say. But that's the nature of the beast. Up your game, and I'll shut up. So it went all right. We're pleased. I'm off to Birmingham tomorrow. A bit of Brum to go and pick up Jo Jukes and take her to her council. I'd like any more out there. If your loved one has committed suicide, not just last year, this year, and you'd like to go and meet your lead councillor and have a meeting at the head of the council to discuss the failings, the positives, and future action, I want to hear from you. And I will come up. You won't have. I'll pick you up. We'll have a chats before, and we'll put something together, and we'll keep banging that drum and keep pushing these people to do better for our community. Right, I'm going to have to go because Andrew Bannister's turned up, another veteran. He's brought up a donation from a amazing effort on the old bicycles a few weeks ago. I was blown away by what they did in Nathan's memory, and also in aid of Forgotten Veterans UK, so I'm going to have to see him. I've got to bend his ear on a couple of things. He ain't walking out of here without getting more jobs. But anyone knows that anyone that's in ear distance of me gets a job or gets given something to do. So I'm going to cut away. It's lovely to speak to you all. Please share this, because I want more people from Lincoln to come forward, please. I think I've opened a door to get something good off the ground. We've met the right people. They said they're going to stick to this. I will be in their inbox like a flash if I think for 1 second they're not keeping to what they've said. And let's get a bloody good drop-in service started in the city of Lincoln, so at least people of 20, 30 miles distance have got somewhere to go on a monthly basis. All right? I'm Gaz Weaving. I'm the CEO and founder of Forgotten Veterans UK. Weirdly, I'm sat in the Hunt's front room, whether they liked it or not. I'm going to be staying here tonight, which is very kind. Me and Derek are in the spare room. I think he's been shaving his legs, to be honest. I'm telling you, those have seen some nylons in their time. I'm certain. Well, you know, grief does strange things to people. If he's shaving his legs, let him get on with it. It's fine. He could be doing worse things. Apart from that, thanks for tuning in. Jo Jukes, I'm coming for you, love. We're going to see the council. Please watch out for another live feed. We've got a massive week down the fault this week. We've got one of the top bosses from the RBL coming to see Fort Cumberland. And funny enough, I said to the bloke that arranged it, I said, what degree of honesty do you want? What shade of Gaz would you like? He went, I want the full shade of Gaz. And I said, really? Am I going to embarrass you? He says, I've briefed them. People know who you are. They know what you're about. Don't try and be anything you're not. Right, bore off. Sleep well. I'll speak to you. I'll speak to you soon.
And any engineer that wears eye karate needs looking at.
Anyone that shaves his legs as well as Derek needs help. Ta-ta for now. Sharing's caring. Laters. Bye.